Hello new gardeners. My name is Medina. I wanted to kind of help you guys get started. It's a new year. It's about time for us to get started with our indoor seeds for our early spring plants. So today I'm going to help you get started with your seeds starting for your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and any other brassicas that you're thinking about growing this year. You don't need a lot to get started. No worries. All you need is a decent seed starting mix, something sterile, something quality. You can get this bag for about $6 at any big box store. It doesn't have to be this brand. You can go any dollar store, Walmart, anything. Just seed starting mix. You don't want to start your seeds with potting soil. You do need a seed starting mix. You want to grab yourself a decent container that will hold your seed starting mix. You're going to need some boiling water. We do take the boiling water and we add it to our seed starting mix because we want to kill any insect eggs or mold spores or anything that might be coming here from the factory. You don't want gnats and things flying around in your house. So all you got to do is take your seed starting mix and dump it into a container. Once that's done, you're going to go ahead and you're going to add your boiling water. Not too much, just enough to moisten it. And again, our goal here is to kill off any insect eggs that might be lurking around. So you're going to mix that in. You want it to be nice and moist. And you want to make sure that everything is covered. You don't want to turn it into mud, but you do want it to be pretty damp. Let's see if you guys can see in there. So we're going to get it all turned over, make sure the water's in there. Again, we're using this to sterilize our mix. Once that's all done and everything is nice and moist, you can see the steam rising from there. We're going to go ahead and cover that with just some aluminum foil that you've got laying around, whatever you've got. You just want to cover it up for about 10 minutes. And just kind of give it time to, again, kill off any microbes and things that might be hiding in there from the factory. So I've got some that's already finished right here. Now, the containers that I'm using are just from I'm recycling from last season. I've probably had these for 2 seasons. I have cleaned these with hot soapy water, maybe a capful or 2 of bleach, because again, I don't want to introduce any insects or microbes into my new seeds. So these are clean and sterilized. So once you've got that going, you're going to take your sterilized potting mix and just dump it in there. We are going to press it down because you want your seeds to have a nice firm base. You want the roots to have a nice firm base to get started on. So you're going to go ahead and get in there. You can wear gloves. I don't wear gloves, but you can certainly wear gloves if you'd like to. And you just kind of want to press it down so it's pretty firm. And if it presses down too far, you can go ahead and add some more in there. So I get some in, I press it down. And then I'm going to add some more on top because, again, you want to make sure that your plants are going to have a good, firm foundation to start on. So now that that's pressed in, I'm going to add a little more. And we're going to get right around the top. Doesn't have to be neat. Okay. All right. So once that's all pressed down in there, our seeds are going to be happy. They've got a good home to start in. And I do seeds because when I first started gardening a few years ago, I was purchasing plants, and it gets really pricey really quickly. This way, seeds are just a lot less expensive, and you get a lot more bang for your buck when you start with seeds. And we're going to be starting these indoors. You want to start. You can always check the Old Farmer's Almanac. You know, there's plenty of information out there about what your zone is and when to start. But for broccoli and cabbages, you want to go ahead and get started about 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost date for your zone. We've got our dirt packed in. Now, seeds are really small. It doesn't matter where you buy your seeds from. You can get, I've got these from big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. The brand doesn't really matter. You can certainly order from many catalogs. There's a lot of different places for seeds. I also like to purchase seeds from local stores to me, local gardening centers. They tend to have excellent seeds. If you want to grow organic, by all means grab organic seeds, that's fine. But it's not a big deal wherever you get your seeds from. I'm a big believer in starting where you are with what's accessible to you and with what's affordable to you. So if you can't afford to go buy custom seeds or whatever, don't worry about any of that. Grab some. These are about $1.99, $1.44. These were $2, and there's tons of seeds. I could keep these for several seasons. Okay, the seeds are really small, so we got to make sure that we do what makes sense for them. So once we've got our dirt packed in, you want to put your seeds in about ½ inch to ½ inch to ½ inch. The easiest way for me to measure that is to kind of do it with the tip of a pencil. Any pencil will do. And I stick a hole in on diagonal, so one side and then another side. And I do that for all of them. Stick a hole in about the width of the pencil tip, and that helps me keep track of the plants as they come up, and it makes it easier for me to separate them. When I do them on a diagonal like this, it lets me separate them more easily when it's time to pull them apart. Okay, you always want to have more than one seed in a cell, because just in case they don't all germinate, you know, in case one comes up and one doesn't, you don't want to waste a whole cell waiting for a seed to come up that's not going to come up. If you wanted to do 3, you know, same thing, just kind of put an extra hole over there. So that's how I do that. The seeds are really small, so you want to be careful when you pour them out. They're really tiny, okay? So you don't want to use a lot of them. These are broccoli, that's what we're going to do first. So I take one seed and put it into one hole. One seed into one hole. And that's it. If you got 3, then you put 1 into each of those. I know it doesn't seem like it, but trust me, this one seed is going to grow into the biggest plant. So we drop them in. And once you drop them in, you take any other ones, dump them back in for next season. Cover that up. And then you just cover the holes up. And that's it. All right, they're in there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for everything. Now, another big thing you want to make sure that you do is label them. If you've got the fancy little sticks to put in there, fine. Right this second, I don't have any of those handy. I'm just going to use a simple Post-it note, all right, with what I planted and the date that I planted. Long as I know that, that's all the information that I need. So I'm going to put this broccoli over here. I'm going to go ahead and put this Post-it note outside, and that way I have a record of exactly what's in which. And I'm going to do that for the Brussels sprouts and for the cabbage. I have some other things, but I'm not going to get into those quite yet, so I'm just going to fill in these 4. And then I'll show you how to water them and how to put them under the grow lights. Okay, so we went ahead and we packed everything in. We've dropped all of our seeds, but I am going to go ahead and round this one out with some lettuce. Lettuce, just like broccoli and Brussels sprouts and Nebraska's, it loves cool weather. So this is a great time to go ahead and start your lettuce and your spinach. You do sow lettuce a little bit differently than you do spinach. And both of these, all of your leafy greens can be sown direct outside. You don't necessarily need to bring them inside. Again, the type of seed doesn't matter. Once everything is in and all packed like we talked about before, I just broadcast my seeds right on the top. So it's in, it's packed in, but lettuce seeds actually need light to germinate. So you don't want to bury them under the dirt, because then they're not going to germinate. So there is my black seeded Simpson lettuce. You know, I'll move the dirt around a little bit, but you don't want to get them too far under because they do need that light. And then we do the same thing for our mesclun lettuce. It's on the other side. Again, everything's already packed in. I'm just going to broadcast the seeds right across the top. I'll thin them out as they start to grow, and that will be for another video. So again, just kind of lightly move them around a little bit. the soil is nice and damp. So once everything is all in, as you can see, I have them underneath my grow lights. I always put something plastic under just for spills, you never know. What I do is I go ahead and I put water in under here. I'll show you how that works. Okay, you can just pour a little water in there. Those grooves are going to pick the water up. The plants are going to pick it up from there. So these are already pretty damp, so I don't have to water them now. But when it's time, I just pour the water in here up to maybe a quarter inch, maybe fingertip there. And I put these in and it waters them from the bottom. That keeps your seeds from moving around. It keeps your insect, mold, and things of that nature down. It'll keep your things from getting too wet. So we bottom water our seeds. I have mine under grow lights. These are just some Ferry Morris grow lights. Keep them on for 12 hours. When they're new like this, you can actually leave them on for 24 hours if you like. I do have a timer for my lights for 12 hours. If you have one, fine. If you don't, fine. These were about $20, so I usually will use these. But if you don't have grow lights, don't worry. A good south-facing window will do the same exact thing. As long as they're getting plenty of light, you'll be fine. So grow lights if you can. If you can't, no big deal. Start with where you are with what you have, and the rest will take care of itself. So this is how we got this started. I'll come back in a week or two after these have all germinated to show you their progress and show you how we go ahead and keep them maintained and we transplant them outside.